Nighttime on Still Waters. This is NB 506812, narrowcasting into the night from somewhere on Britain's waterways. First of May, Friday, Beltane. The dip and swell of these gently folding fields, home to shadows and sheep and trees who have become old friends. A steady rain falls, soft and drenching. The memory of petrichor lingers in the air. And the canal dimples and swells with raindrop rings. Large drops fall from the tips of the overhanging branches of oak and ash. They ring like glass bells as they hit the water. Tonight, these watery bells will guide you home. This is the narrowboat Erica, narrowcasting into the glistening wet darkness of a rainy May night, to you, wherever you are. You've managed to make it. I'm so pleased you are here. I was hoping you'd come. So come in before you get wet through. The kettle is on the boil, the cabin is snug and dry, and there's a seat waiting especially for you. So come inside, shake off your wet coat and I'll hang it on the peg to dry. And welcome aboard. The horse chestnuts are in flower, my most favourite sight of all. It took me by surprise. I normally keep my eye open for them, but in the busyness of this year they completely slipped my mind. And I think it was also partly because there's not many around here. But then, a couple of days ago, we had some errands to run in Stratford town, and we were shoulder to shoulder in the jostle of crowds, and I looked up. There they were, grandly magnificent beside the flowing Avon, creamy white candles picked out with a hint of pink and golds. And closer to home, the mornings and evenings are filled with the serenade of frog song, and the carp sun themselves in the sun-warmed shallows, readying themselves for the spawning. And we're also now beginning to see the dip and swell of swallows scything the early skies of summer. And I keep meaning to say that the herons are back, although I would imagine that duck and moorhen parents are not quite as happy about their reappearance as I have been. And I know a few episodes back I mentioned that a swan had suddenly appeared in the vicinity and was beginning to make friends with a number of boaters. And we wondered if he would stay and make this his territory. Following the pair who had set up home here for about 4 years, swans have come and tested the waters here, but none have stayed. And it looks like this one too has followed that pattern. One day we realized that he was no longer with us. He'd gone, maybe in search of a mate. And recently an unbroken stretch of warm, dry days with plenty of sunshine has created a sense of unhurried busyness to the moorings. Good weather means the growing list of outdoor jobs can be started, and with it, that easy sociability that characterises canal life. It's still early in the season, and so the canal is still relatively quiet, but some new boats have come to join us, for a short while at least, and others have moved on. Pairs and small groups of people stand alongside their boats, tea-mug in hand, and the lilt and drift of conversation pauses to hang in the air, where a couple of weeks ago wood smoke curled and rose. And on days like these, jobs take longer. But that's okay. No one's complaining. This is canal time. It's always lovely to hear from you. And thank you, I really do appreciate you taking the trouble to contact me. And it was lovely to hear from Jason and Karen Polite, who are just starting out on their life afloat together aboard the narrowboat Dera Rosa. And they commented, what an incredibly special listen that was for us, hearing all the stuff you and Donna went through buying Erica, and also telling of Joe Bell's story, just after we went through the same process, while at the same time we were feeling Dera Rosa moving under us with the movement of the water. It really resonated and struck a chord at just how alive these pieces of machinery are. Their quirks and foibles and all the little things that say, yes, this is my boat, this is my home. We're quickly making Dera Rosa our own, but I must say, this boat picked us. She screamed to us, pick me, more so than any others we viewed. And the important thing is that we listened. And in less than a month, she'll be taking us on our journey. A journey that will begin at Debdale Wharf and Marina and will hopefully include as much of the inland waterways and rivers that a 61-foot boat can manage. No, she isn't the layout we were shopping for, but when we stepped on board for the first time, she was perfect for us. And we can't wait to begin our adventure with her. Now that's lovely, Jason and Karen, and we are thinking of you and sending you our good wishes, and we'd love to hear more as your adventures begin to unfold. It was also lovely to receive an email from Jeff Van Boeven from over in Missouri. Thank you so much, Jeff, and your question or challenge is something very close to my heart. Jeff wrote about words and how they can function, and went on to say, I've been listening to a woodpecker calling and was trying to think how to describe it. This led me to the thought that describing bird calls and songs can be quite a creative act when you're trying to get beyond just chirps and tweets to encapsulate what you're hearing. And Jeff, you are absolutely right. Describing bird calls and songs is a creative art, and sometimes I think an impossible one. And I think it's something that also can be so often overlooked. It's all too easy to suck out the significance of a call or song by reducing it to the cliched twitter or tweet. Perhaps the best way to describe birdsong is to come at it a little bit obliquely. Going back to the last episode, hello and greetings to Christine Stovall. I hope I pronounced your name right, Christine. And I'm so glad that you enjoyed finding Erica. And also, hello to Kaz on Galatea. Kaz, I'm so envious of you. First with the otters, and now with the cuckoo. And so much more too. What an amazing spot you've got there. And Kaz, I also loved your comment following the Finding Erica episode. And Kaz wrote how she wanted a boat with a C-shaped kitchen. We went to look for a few and decided, nah, we didn't like it. Lovely boats though. Then went to look at some with normal walk-through kitchens and were lovely, but didn't do it for us. Then went to look at Galatea. It had a C-shaped kitchen and needed some alterations throughout, and we knew it was the one. I love that. It's weird, isn't it? A boat can tick all the right boxes, and it's just that, for some reason, not quite right, and then you find one that just clicks. The Erica's got a C-shaped kitchen too, and to be honest, I was convinced that Donna would hate it, as it was so really compact. And we'd been admiring some boats with huge galley areas, and Donna really loves to cook and appreciates space and storage areas. So I had it in mind that this was going to be one of the essentials. But Donna fell in love with this one. And what's more important, she still loves it. You just can't tell with boats. Greetings over on Blue Sky to Genevieve Carlin. Hello, Genevieve. And yes, I too loved that line, "The drift is part of how we dance," from Joe Bell's poem. And also on YouTube, hello and cheers to John McMahon. There's always time for another cuppa. Greetings also to Sem Rao. Thank you, Sem. And also to Lee. Lee sent me the most amazing video of a volcano erupting that she had the fortune to witness. And don't worry, it's nowhere near her home on the Colorado mountains. But Lee, that is spectacular and a memory to treasure. I really do appreciate all of your comments and your support. And thanks especially to our Lockwheelers for supporting this podcast. And they are Anna McKellar, Susan Baker, Mind Shambles, Clare Hollingsworth, Kevin B., Fleur and David Mcloughlin, Lois Raphael, Tania Yorgey, Andrea Hansen, Chris Hinds, Chris and Alan on the narrowboat The Land of Green Ginger, Captain Arlo, Rebecca Russell, Alison on the narrowboat Mucker, Derek and Pauline on Silver Fox, Anna V, Orange Cookie, Mary Keane, Tony Rutherford, Arabella Holtzapfel, Rory with MJ and Kayla, the narrowboat Precious Jet, Linda Reynolds Bergins, Richard Noble, Carol Ferguson, Tracy Thomas, Mark and Tricia Stowe, and Madeline Smith. Thank you. The sound of a warm, late spring afternoon that stretches itself long and lazy along the towpath. This is one of our most favourite places to tie up along this canal. And we decided to take advantage of some glorious spring weather and jump off the world for a few days to do nothing but just simply be. And here is always a perfect place to do that. It feels miles away from the spinning world with all its flex and fever. To be away from everything. Although I should add that it's by no means a secret spot, hidden away and unknown except to a few. People regularly pass by this spot, shepherding or being shepherded by their dogs. Couples stride past, swinging walking poles and carrying backpacks heavy with water bottles and packed lunches. Others amble past, deep in the bubbles of their conversation. Butterflies flitting around their earnest half-sentences like lost punctuation. Sometimes a solitary walker comes by, phone clamped to their ear, their feet walking in one world, their heads in another. And then, of course, the swoosh and thrumble of cyclists, here 1 second, gone the next, leaving a wake of rustling rush and a memory of colour. I can't blame them or complain. There was a time when I used to love nothing more than cycling like the clappers on the invitingly flat but bumpy bone-jangling ribbon of the towpath. My most favourite bike, apart from my very first one, was an ancient sit-up-and-beg gentleman's bicycle that Mum and Dad found at a roadside auction in Norfolk. It rattled and clattered. The mudguards flapped like spaniels' tongues, and the cotter pins were worn and clanked alarmingly with each revolution of the pedals. It had a lamp clamped to a bracket that wept battery juice onto my knees, and there was a large saucer-sized chromium-plated bell fixed to the handlebars. The mechanism had become so loose that every time I went over a bump it petulantly rang out with a metallic ting, and it weighed an absolute ton, being made, I suspect, from old bridge girders and tractor parts. But it did have 3 gears: hard, harder, and hardest of all. And it was totally impossible to get it above 3 miles a day. And little elderly ladies on small-wheeled choppers would hare past me in a blurred flash of speed and the scent of mothballs and mint imperials. And yet, what style, what grace I felt cycling that bicycle, sitting bolt upright on my sprung mattress of a saddle. 3.5 foot above contradiction, I was able to peer over hedgerows and into front-room windows with unabashed liberty. When I went downhill, nothing could stop me. And my greatest joy was to take it down the towpath. Its thin wheels were not really cut out for such demands, but it was fun. And I'd wind it up, pedalling furiously, leaning right over the handlebars, pressing my nose to the front mudguard, all ears, elbows and knees, pedalling like a pullet, my coat flailing behind me in the slipstream of my creating, and I'd rattle and clatter, ping and ting, judder and jangle in a cacophonous cloud of dust and exertion, the mudguards leaping and snarling, oblivious to moorhen shriek and fisherman howl, crashing and bouncing over each dip and swerve, leaping off for each turn over bridge while the bike was still in clanking motion to race up and over its humpback spine, and then, on the other side, John waning back onto that luxurious armchair of a saddle to resume that furious pumping of the pedals. I was devastated when that bicycle got stolen. Although there are times when you have to concede that some petty criminals at least deserve a little credit for a certain display of suave taste and style. So, yes, I can't really complain about the cyclists when they tear past, or blame them for their chasing of that adrenaline-fueled endorphin rush. And yes, this spot is certainly not a secret place hidden away from everyone. But while it's not hidden, you might say that it's often overlooked. Its special charm left unrecognized. Although many local boaters know exactly where I mean when I mention it, without even needing to go into too many details. And so we're here again, just for a few short days. The erica luxuriating in the April sunshine, the snub nose of her bough nuzzling the new growth, live with insects. It's a calm, soporific type of afternoon. An afternoon when the tea slowly cools in the mug, undrunk, forgotten, because the way of the light of the canal reflects on the underleaves of the willow has suddenly caught your attention. And now, half an hour has already flown past. And on the other side of the canal lies a large field, It's mostly covered with a thick crop that's the dark green of steamed spinach. But directly opposite us is a crescent of unseeded scrub and dried earth. And to the left of that, a deep hedgerow, more an elongated copse than a hedge. At certain times of the day it bristles with song. And beyond this broad shoulder of field lies woodland. It's the vestigial remnants of the old Forest of Arden, Shakespeare's forest, the forest of Rosalind and Orlando in As You Like It. It once spanned from the River Severn to the Trent. Arduina Silva, it was called in Roman times. Forest of Fair Heights. And there's something about that thick brow of trees that echoes with the strange calls of deer, muntjac, owl and pheasant, that brings the horizon almost to within arm's length. And sit here with me for a day and watch, particularly at this time of the year, and watch as the sun's salmon arcs over our heads from left to right, and watch how the trees change colour, from the dark, almost black, greens of seaweed and wrack, through to forest and British racing greens, and then, as the sun drops behind us, to shift to olives and khaki and the brown of dried towpath mud. It's a magic of sorts. Earlier, 2 hares emerged among the field crops, racing along the lines left by the wheels of tractor and trailer. They leap and tumble, stand on their hind legs, and then one cavorts off into the undergrowth, where the other remains, hunched at the edge of the wheel tracks, foraging. A small, earthy, round figure that slowly morphs into just one more large stone. This is how to become invisible in plain sight. And from time to time I keep my eye on this little shape, and then it's gone. Or I think it has. Perhaps it went a long time ago, and I've only been looking at a rock. Or maybe it is still there, becoming just another rock in another part of the field. Perhaps Arden, Arduina Silva, has retained a little bit of her magic after all. As the clock ticks, the afternoon unwinds. The sun lies heavy and sweet on the canal, and the sedge and reeds are growing tall now, and some of last year's mace still flag the bank, wind-battered, winter-worn, their fleecy heads as shaggy and dirty as unshorn sheep. And both sides of the towpath are rich with butterflies. Brimstone and tortoiseshell flick and weave. Orange tips smoulder and spark, carrying embers in wings. Commas and small blues dazzle and dance among the nettles and rising cow parsley shoots. And the willow's catkins are bursting. And even in the almost still air of this soft, warm afternoon, snowstorms of fleecy seeds ride and float. Dandelion clocks, out of time, cast their spare minutes up to the sky. and they mingle and slowly dance their way to earth. The water's surface is cotton white with fluff. The slow current carries them past us. The mirrored surface of the canal is heavy with time. And further along, where the waterside is clearer of reeds, the bankside is spangled with celandine yellow and red campion fire. Delicate lady smock and cups to the sun, and flecks of chickweed sea foam and stitchwork stars sail among the blue skies of speedwell and forget-me-nots. And gnats and other insects zigzag low across the surface, chasing their reflections. You only have to wait still for just a very short while, and slowly you will begin to see a world of activity emerge. Look, deep into this green cluster of young sedge, reed and iris. Stay still. Do nothing. Just watch. There, an unseen world emerges. Beetles, bright and as colourful as anodized metal, glint and spark as they scuttle along the path of each broad leaf. Winged insects gather, strange and impossibly constructed. They buzz and hum. And over there, deep among the nodes of this young iris, a large spider appears. And like the hare, it's really been there the whole time. It's just now you're aware of it. 2 legs. Slowly move, feeling the fleshy surface of the leaf blade. Perhaps it's watching us. Perhaps it's just sitting in the sun, drawing the wonderful heat into its body. A bit like us, really. It's nice. There's space enough for us all, and there's warmth enough for us all. And meanwhile, tiny spurts of wind kick and play along the canal. It's more a hint than anything serious. A gentle zephyr. Patches of open water are ruffled by ripples, dulling the bright mirror of its surface, yet making it dance with light. And the westering sun turns Arden to gold. An evensong of sheep call. Lambs nuzzle and scamper. Robin, chaffing, wren. Pheasants squawk. Bronze fire among the clumps of scrubby grass. I keep an ear open for heron bark, but don't hear any. The shadows begin to wrap themselves around Erica. But the air is still warm in the gathering quietude of evening. And this is the time of a dusk chorus, vespers for wilder souls more ancient than time, a signal of the ending of daylight and the closing in of dark. At this time of year, full-throated and glorious, a song to welcome in the night and the world's turning. Each voice, loud, soft, large, small, joining in the symphony of twilight. and it's too light for stars, but I'm thinking about them anyway. And the country lane that threads its way northeastwards parallel to the canal is also beginning to quieten. The water beside us is disturbed every once in a while by the plink of a surfacing fish. A couple of times a frantic flash of silvered water and a snaking V of a small fish skimming just under the surface, perhaps fleeing a pike. Even quiet underwaters hold their nightmares. And the 3 unpaired male mallard ducks, who have spent most of the afternoon dozing and idling their time under the overhang of the opposite bank, suddenly explode into flight. They wheel around and land once more in the same spot they left. 2 head for the opposite bank. 1 flusters onto the bank a few yards from us. And the sun has now dipped below the horizon, and Arden is clothed in widow's black. Or maybe it's something far richer, more mysterious than that. And Montjack calls and is answered. And there's a constant commentary from the duck a few feet below us, chuntering into the dark. To whom? Us? The 2 males opposite? Perhaps it's to himself. Whatever the case, it's a lovely, warm, companionable sound. Something soothing and reassuring. And then a flick. A shape darting head height across our line of vision. Then another, criss-crossing haphazard these shining waters, the colour of mercury. First the noctule bat, larger, easy to mistake for a late returning sparrow or wren. And then, as the darkness gathers, out come the more common pipistrelle. Agile, flighty, small, often no more than a peripheral dart that dances just out of sight. Too fast to catch, too dark to be certain, but certainly something is out there. We stand in the duck hatch as they arrow just over our heads, skimming the cabin roof. You can almost feel the draught vibrating from their wings, narrowly avoiding entering the boat by veering away just at the last moment. This ancient Evensong of the wild is drawing to a close. But even now, as that great swell of chorus subsides into starlight, there are still other parts for other voices. This is a symphony for all, and long may that be the case. And this is the narrowboat Erica, signing off for the night and and wishing you a very restful and peaceful night. Good night. Temperature. Outside 12.8 degrees. Inside 20 degrees. Humidity 96%. Dew point 12 degrees. Wind direction north-northeast. Wind strength 4 miles per hour. Barometric pressure 1010.8 falling. Cloud cover 100%. Cloud ceiling 5,700 feet. Precipitation 4.83 millimeters. Moon phase 98.7%. Waning gibbous. Day length 14 hours 59 minutes. Sunset 20:34. Sky casting 5:33.